You're fine.
All
You
right.
should be able to do it now.
Yep, lovely. The Zoom technologies being so crazy. On that mode, here we go. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to blow your ear out right there, James. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen. Make the play. Get this one to slay, Lionel Messi. Score the penalty, Lionel Messi, even though Cristiano Ronaldo scored them more. It's another exciting, enthralling episode of American Z-Grade Soccer. Once again, it's another enthralling, exciting episode of American Z-Grade Soccer, both to be live right now on the Bigo app, but most importantly, live right now on the Twitter app, but most importantly, for you all on YouTube, when you watch this, whenever you can, hopefully right after we finish this whole live, with this great Sir Eddie all the way, James Eddie. Zoom can't stop us with their technology problems, can they?
I was going to say, I don't know if it's Zoom or if it's my internet provider. You can take a guess and figure out who my internet provider is. I'm not going to put anybody on blast. But
well,
it's been a struggle.
Well, all I can say is that Optimum, I will put you on blast even when you're working good, because you are just a crazy company owned by a crazy nepotistic fool that is James Dolan. I'm just keeping it real like that and all that. So live and direct to the full effect. And speaking of making some bold stands and some bold positions, well, we certainly had one. And our main topic of the day this week on American Z-Grade Soccer, and not only this week or whenever you want to do it, is the GOAT, Lionel Messi, saying, as I thought he would, Sir Eddie, as I say, I thought he would. He is fed up. He is done with Barcelona. He said right now, 8-2 was the final straw. Ronald Koeman, you being hired certainly does not make me feel better about staying here. I'm out. And I want to go to Man City and Pep where they need me and I need them. And it's a perfect marriage made in heaven all the way. And this is what's going to go down. As I said, it will go down all the way. Now, tomorrow, as I told you, girl, you're watching. You owe me that all the way. All right? But there's an interesting development that is breaking news today, James. Breaking news today. And it's something that we were going to discuss a little bit before I show people what that breaking news was. Sir, your whole thoughts on Lionel Messi. Oh, the thing is trying to go in and out. You see how we do things? Zoom trying to stop the hustle. So for those who don't know, as James gets back connected, this is what went down today in the last few hours of this whole podcast, where for the first time ever, and I've never seen this before, from any of the UEFA 5 leagues or any soccer league in general, really. All right? So this is something that I've never seen before overall. James is right back on the whole live. Lionel Messi, La Liga, adamant and desperate to keep Lionel Messi on in their league. All they went and did and decided, ladies and gentlemen, is that they decided overall that they said that Man City would have to fork up that 700 million euros release clause that Lionel Messi has in his contract that Barcelona put in his contract if somebody wanted to get him from Barcelona. And they said today that they sided with Barcelona in the contract battle. It said current deal still valid, and paying release costs for $700 million is the only way out. And Manchester City is still waiting for Barcelona's decision. So James, are you back on the live stream, good sir?
I am. I'm thinking what might be messing up the connection is when we're trying to do a lot with memory and sharing screens.
Yes.
So I think that might be, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. We're working it out. Yeah, that's hysterical. But as I was saying to you before, I think what makes it interesting is
Well, as James was getting on this, I'm telling you, how it's the demons of Liverpool fans, or the demons of Real Madrid fans, or something. The demons of La Liga. They don't want us to talk about this, James. They don't want to see us prosper.
Well, we're going to talk about it anyways. What I was trying to say was essentially we were talking about how that would essentially be kind of the death knell in La Liga, right? Like, if you think about, as you've been saying on point, Atletico is really old. Real they had a pretty good team, but they couldn't even make it out of the quarterfinal, right? And then Barcelona.
Not even the quarterfinal, round of 16.
Round of 16, you're right.
Beat City twice.
And then we got Barcelona was kind of the only linchpin that they were really kind of hoping. And then the key thing is that because the transfer window is going to be so short, with domestic leagues returning to play so quickly, there's not many moves that can be made. All of the moves would have needed to be made already.
It's a great
point.
So
if you lose him, honestly, Barcelona should have won the championship, the domestic league last year, to be quite honest. Real was good, but I think that was the key disappointment. To me, Barcelona should have been their consensus number one team, and the fact that it was that close is problematic and shows the tenacity of Real as well. Yeah. But I also think, because of that, now next season, that was going to be the team, right? At least they were going to have that matchup, because as I just was saying, no one's going to be able to reload because of COVID and the transfer window being so small. So you lose Messi.
Oh, I mean,
right?
man.
It's a wrap. It is essentially a wrap for the league. Like, the league is done.
Yeah, man. It's just something that, oh boy, they really, 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 really only have the presence of Lionel Messi because they were damaged. El Clasico, their showpiece by Cristiano departing to Juventus. Mm-hmm. So that was already a thing. That was a big gap in that highly anticipated, most anticipated game of the year in all of European soccer, for club soccer, at least in terms of domestic leagues. By itself, it had passed all of the Premier League games because of the fact that they were arguably the best two teams in the world coming into each European season. Yes, they benefited from being La Liga, but then they benefited from La Liga not sharing the TV rights, allowing both big two, the biggest of regular Spain and the biggest of Catalonia, to run the whole entire nation and to get these tax breaks along with not sharing the TV money. And it was just a thing straight up that they thought that this thing would lead to them being able to at least say, we have the biggest game of the year, we got the two best teams here, and no matter how the Premier League gets as even bigger and bigger and everything, as long as we retain enough of the stars at Barcelona and Real Madrid, we'll be all right. We'll still continue to be like, oh, this is technical soccer, and EPL is just kick and run and all this, and physical soccer and all this or whatever, and continue those stereotypes and say, look at the results from Europe. Look at how many Spanish teams are winning or whatnot. Look at how many Spanish teams are winning Champions League, Sevilla. If that's just the basis of a league strength. But also the fact that literally only 3 teams won the La Liga compared to the Premier League, because they're like, oh, we got the Premier League. We're the real league. This is how many Champions Leagues we won. We're real. This is the best of soccer. This is the best in everything. Real Madrid fans love to do that to prop up their league. Barcelona fans try to do that as well. And also people in Spain in general, that's like, F the Premier League. I'm mad about all the attention it's getting and everything.
As we've been saying since we started this, the reason you have to respect the Premier League is because from top to bottom, from 1 to
20.
20, it can be there almost any given Sunday. They're as close to, and then I would say the Bundesliga and Serie A, like right there neck and neck again with trying to do that. Liga 1 is starting to get there. Is even, I mean, that's my thing. If Messi leaves, Liga 1, we can begin saying, like, you know, they might be creeping up and surpassing La Liga a little bit.
You talking about Leon gonna pass? I think it's precarious with them. Although I will say that Leon showed that, and they finished 7th, had a terrible season in Leon, and yet they were able to show that even in the restart, yes, they benefited maybe from some rest, but they are talented enough where they dispatched Juventus. And then, despite City imploding on themselves and the referees and Pep being unlucky, but the result went to the result. They got Manchester City. So now we then get the key. They could have, should have, to me, they had the better chance than Bayern Munich, and they just did not finish. So I go Cambi, who they got from Villarreal, just couldn't finish. Depay couldn't finish. Then they had Cornet in front of goals, a better finisher to me, and them consistently, and they could have won. So. But Leon, they have a lot of more quality teams than just PSG, but it's still that gap. All right?
Yes. I agree that it's still that gap, but I'm talking about in terms of quality of being able to watch, right? Like, so if I'm turning in, like, the thing with the Premier League and the Bundesliga and Serie A is, like, because there are so many teams dispersed, right? Like, I know if I tune into the Bundesliga, I can watch between any match between 1 and 8. If any of the 1 through 6, top 8 teams are involved, it's going to be a good match. You know what I mean? It'll still be pretty good, even for the teams that might get relegated. So I think that's the key thing, is trying to figure out and determine that's where, to me, it's spaced out. That's what makes the Premier League interesting. So I think La Liga is similar to what you just were talking about with their heavy investment in those top 2, have never really done any. I mean, the fact that Atletico was able to still do some things that they needed to do, that was still amazing within itself, right? So now we're talking about these 2 teams.
Simeone calls, I call it. Simeone
right.
call Madrid.
So it's very interesting in terms of that they were able to get into kind of that, not that sweet spot, but that notch, right? That's the key thing. So, but honestly, the investment has been with those top 2. So now, like you said, like we just were talking about, Real doesn't have. They're still a good team, but they don't have the names. You know what I mean? They don't have.
Well, I mean, Benzema and Ramos are still, master.
Are still there, right?
And Hazard, if he's healthy next season, which is so real, because next season is literally like probably trying to think when they're restarting back in La Liga, probably like 2 weeks or next week. I'm not sure. But it's just something where they have the name, but they're just not. It's just no longer the best player in the world name. Where they were lucky to have both the best 2 players in the world, and both Messi and Cristiano. And now even with, Cristiano gone, they'll be like, oh, we still have Messi and we still have the big names that make Real Madrid and Barcelona contenders.
Mm-hmm.
But now with how bad both of these sides have fallen off, especially the last 2 years, it's just a thing that's going to be a real struggle for them. And they know it. They know it overall, that they don't have a next superstar player, and they have a lot of superstars but the person that literally for the first time in probably, I will say, maybe 14 years, 15 years, and maybe in forever, in a long while, La Liga will not have the best player in the world. And that's a devastating blow to them, because I'm trying to think, the Premier League, it's hard to say really, because Ronaldinho, okay, he was there. He did not play in the Premier League. So Ronaldinho in his time, when he was rising, with Ronaldo, Zidane never played in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so La Liga or Serie A, and then it was really La Liga because of Real Madrid and Barcelona. they've really had the best player for a while. Where it's really all the way back to when Serie A was like at its peak before its final days being at its peak. Is when you would say they had contended with La Liga for the best player. Now, that's not the case. Where La Liga builds itself as the League of the Stars. They said League of the Stars. Then on their preview shows a lot to get back at the Premier League, they said the best league in the world. We're the best league in the world. And they got away, a lot of their La Liga partisans, their fans, they got away with the whole notion of like, they was hypocritical because they would get on the Premier League about that. But yet their whole league is saying this in the preview shows, the review shows, best team in La Liga, the best league in the world. I was just saying, La Fútbol Mejor del Mundo. The saying in Spanish overall. Because I had to give him credit at least in terms of the passing and other stuff. And it's like, Spain is the world champions. Spain won, for the first time. Spain won in Euro 08, 2010, 2012. So, you had to give it its credit with that and all that. So, but their reputation was always thinking that they had a lot of evidence to say that they were the best team in the world. Now, they don't have that now. But
what you're saying, Andrew, is they were never really the best league in the world, but they had a lot of evidence to kind of back that up. Like you couldn't argue against it, right? Because all people had to do was say, look at our top 4 teams. So it was hard to make a but like I was saying to you, every Saturday, like that's my justification whenever people have that argument. I'm like, every Saturday, someone who's new to the Premier League, you might get a blowout, if you get a Liverpool versus a Stoke. Yes. I'm thinking of somebody who might just come up. Right?
That's Stoke on a rainy night.
Right?
Okay, this season, because Norwich started off good, they beat City, and then they just discombobulated completely where they got relegated by West Ham and let Mikel Antonio score 4 goals. Like something like that. You do see the eye, and then City, whenever they're rolling, you do see the eye where like, whoa, 7-1 or 6-2.
But I think most fans would expect that. You know what I mean? Like if you saw the Hawks play the Lakers, you knew what it was. You know what I mean? So to me, that's just sports in general. I think the key thing, I feel like what you have to understand is your middle of the pack. When you're talking about best league in the world, what kind of game am I going to see if I watch the number 10 versus the number 9, or number 10 versus number 8, or number 8 versus number 12? Is the matchup going to be competitive? Is it going to be entertaining? Am I watching a team, 2 teams who are one team who's trying to hold up from relegation? And I feel like in the mid-2000s and before the Premier League started getting really, really good with how they worked out the money and the contracts for the teams, I would say before it started getting more parity, right? You weren't getting these even matchups. You were getting kind of, one team is like, okay, we're away, so we're trying to play for a draw, and the other team's like, we're at home, let's try to play for the points. So you had a lot of parking the bus. Whereas like now you have teams who have their styles, and they're just like, here goes our style, this is what we're gonna do, and here goes how we're gonna play to win. So I think that's the key
difference right there.
That was the key difference. I think that was what really
And James gets a little frozen there with what he said. It's the mid-table, the quality of the mid-table games, as well as if you can have enough teams from the bottom. As James, as you chopping up.
Quality of the mid-table.
Yeah.
I think La Liga has never really, they never invested in that. They invested in kind of the top 2 and maybe if you squeak into the top 4, then we'll try to do that. So I never really felt like they could ever say that they were best league in the world. Even top 3, I think is arguable.
Wow, you wait, whoa, now they really gonna make La Liga people upset, man. You didn't think they was top 3?
The Bundesliga is better.
Ooh, I mean, it is really close. I will say that. Well, both leagues have a lot of quality. To me, very good underrated managers. I really do think so. But man, that's something to behold. And Serie A's had a revival this year. Well, they got a lot of clever managers there. Italy always stinks now. Now, they've been hurt because now they can't be defensive part of the bus. And now Serie A in the last 15 years has been kind of really actually enjoyable. To me, this is enjoyable.
Yes, that's my point. The mid-table Serie A has stopped playing the traditional, Italian soccer of we're going to play, rule. If we're not at home, it's more teams are getting styles, and then they're finding the players in their academies or around the world who match the style of what the manager and what the owners and directors want to play. So it feels a little like La Liga is behind the 8 ball when it comes to that. It feels like the rest of European soccer is trying to move towards this evolutionary process. I feel like the top 2 have been able to do that. I feel like Atletico was kind of trying to lead the way with that, but everyone else, Espanyol a little bit, but I mean, like everyone else, it's not. It's like, ugh. When you watch a La Liga game and you're talking about 2 mid to bottom table teams, it's tragic.
It can be rough, I gotta say. And even though there's you may see some promising either Spanish player or player from another country overall in La Liga, it's still such a talent gap disparity because the teams don't have enough money all the way at the bottom, or hell, all the way from even Sevilla. Once you get to Sevilla, even Atletico, once you get to Sevilla, and then that second group of Villarreal, Atletico Bilbao, Real Sociedad is back in that picture. Valencia, obviously. You really get into that whole notion of like, wow, there is a gap of talent. Then when you see 4 through 8, at least in the Premier League, you're like, wow, Wolves could certainly finish third. In a good third place in La Liga with a full season overall, and maybe even getting close to the title. Is with how declined both Real Madrid and Barcelona are. Hey, they would certainly have as much ability. So it's just the way that Javier Tebas, La Liga's president, has truly fought against, and that's a nice tribute, by the way, for NBA overall. They've truly fought against, this whole notion today. And this is the thing when we get back with Messi overall that's so significant. I could not believe this week when I heard that he, was all about wanting to leave and everything. So I'm like, okay, he wants to leave, but, it's a lot of money, his release clause and all that. I was like, and he has in his contract, he can leave at the end of his city on a free. I mean, at the end of the season on a free. I'm like, whoa! Who wrote that contract thinking that he wasn't gonna leave?
A person who thought he was never gonna leave.
Exactly. and it's like, the Bartholomew, straight up, what's going on, Oscar Lopez? Was going up, thinking that, all right, he's never going to leave, so we're going to put this in this contract and put this in the release clause. Well, no one's going to think about paying this release clause and everything. In fact, they did it because of PSG with Neymar. They said, oh, damn, PSG had the funds. We can't let this happen again. Let's just put it up there when no one's going to think about paying it. If they do, it's going to bankrupt their club. And obviously, even that's a foolish thing. Because not only no one will pay it, I think the court of arbitration is going to be like, no one's going to pay that. And it's going to bankrupt the club. So that's unfair to even put your market like that. You know, I just thought
So
about that just now.
no, that's exactly what's gonna happen if they go to the court of arbitration. Well, I don't know what their rules are over there if they're similar to ours, but if they look at them and it's anything like here, it's gonna look the person. It can take 2 minutes. They're gonna look, see that clause, and be like, "Oh, okay, he can do whatever. He's gone for free." Or we got to come to a regulatory price that's manageable, which is probably what City's gonna be sitting there waiting to happen.
Man,
Think about this, Andrew. 3 months ago, we were talking about City potentially being not being able to play in UEFA Championship in the Champions League last year, to now possibly getting the best player in the world.
And James, also Pep Guardiola thinking about leaving. He was like, "Oh, Kevin De Bruyne."
Yeah, I mean, if they couldn't get to Champions League next year, that would there's no reason that they shouldn't have not been thinking about leaving.
De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling thinking about going. Aguero may be thinking about going.
Aguero, both of those two can, if you have your Bobby Firmino take, I will say that's where I am with at least Sterling. Aguero still got some legs, but he needs to get a little bit more healthy as well.
Well, listen to this from the great Fabrizio Romano, who is really like the Adrian Wojnarowski or Adam Schefter of breaking news in terms of getting all tweeting it out and breaking the news on the big transfers in soccer and a lot of just regular transfers overall. What's up, Mr. CJ? He says Messi also at the La Liga statement is not going to change his mind. He wants to leave and start a new chapter. Barcelona told him again they won't let Leo go for free to Manchester City, and La Liga position is part of their strategy. The saga is on. Oh my gosh! I mean, this gonna get ugly. I mean, I've never seen this before in professional sports where you literally, and we're gonna get on this because we're gonna talk about this real quick and everything before we roll to our basketball show overall. But man, it is something where I have never seen this before. We have never seen it before, James. And I'm staggered. I'm really staggered that I saw that from La Liga today, where they could have just said, we're minding our business, as I said, but, this is going to be the business of it all. We'll let both Barcelona and City talk about it and Messi, all right? They literally came out and said, Lionel Messi, you are on our will. We hold you against your will. And I've never seen, I can't think I've ever seen that before. Zoom trying to cut out, but I've never seen that before at all. And I'm flabbergasted by it. I'm really, really, I'm really flabbergasted by it all, sir. Can you hear me, Jay? As his connection tries to get back in overall for the key part.
Did you hear me?
It's a little too choppy. Now I can hear you.
I said La Liga's looking at MLS saying, how did you guys pull off all the stuff? Pull off what you guys were able to, where you can't, you gotta take MLS in order to sign any
official designated player. Yeah, like the dude designated player.
Unless you're a designated player, yep, you gotta pay MLS because each player is MLS's property.
For real, man. And they're probably wondering how, like, you Americans, we love you now. We really love how you guys do it. And it's just how brazen they were to do it. It's something that
because I think what happened was Barcelona really called in. I think it's also too separate. I think some people at Barcelona are like, it's cool if he goes, right? Like, we'll save an absurd amount of money. But I also think others who, this team is about to fall apart,
Yep.
especially goals, like it will fall completely apart. So unless you want this team to fall completely apart, you figure out what you can do so the league can stay. And I think that was the messaging that LaLiga got, and then LaLiga was like, okay, we got this. And then they came with something incredibly nonsensical.
Mm-hmm. Nonsensical in terms of, well, I mean, you're right, man. And all I can say is that it shows how desperate they are. And it's embarrassing, I think, honestly. I think it's really, really shameful. And I think, honestly, both UEFA and FIFA really need to step in. Not that we should expect anything moral of both of them, especially FIFA. But this is really kind of chilling. I gotta tell you, because if they're gonna do this to the best player in the world, then everyone else is not off limits. Then
yeah, if they rule in favor of La Liga, it sets a new precedent, at least for European football.
Yeah, and
so they would have to restructure their contract negotiation. It might end up looking more like how we do it here in America.
Yeah.
Where teams don't get transferring fees, and you can't be put on. It won't be as free and open market as it is.
Mm-hmm. You're right, man. And I think that it may lead even the players to even think about a union, which is fascinating, man. Because as you see, comes through in the live. Shout out to you, girl. I just think that this is a thing that really their eyes got to be open over this, because if a league could literally, without any, it's not even La Liga's business really, because it's the club business.
Oh. Yeah, the league is a separate entity from the franchise, but this also tells you how in cahoots La Liga has been with those two clubs. If I'm one of the smaller clubs who's trying to stave off relegation, I am so upset about this. Because what does it matter to you?
Well, man, as you come out on that live right there, brother, the thing is trying to be on the connection. What I will say is that, as you come back in, before we close real quick, do you think, because he's gone, he's definitely gone. But, and honestly, if cities somehow don't have the funds, and, we don't know what this financial fair play, like what restrictions city has overall, but, in terms of their finances, everything like that, but I still, if they can't buy him, and if PSG can't buy him, because he doesn't want to go to PSG, like PSG had the funds, but he really wants to go to City with Pep. He wants to give City their Champions League title they're desperate for, and they're desperate for that. He's desperate for just that new start to really push in and win the titles that he wants to push in, because that's what he's about, and that's what he want to get. But honestly, this is something where he will boycott the season if they can't get a deal with him and get him the City. And it's amazing, because we see this with NFL holdouts, Le'Veon Bell, all that and everything. It's just something that's going to be really unfortunate. And then, Jay, I forgot about this. Then you got the notion of Bartholomew. And this is why I can understand why Bartholomew is like upset. And this is one thing that's key, all right? Bartholomew, I can understand where he's coming from, the president. Because Bartholomew is saying, well, I went and got Dembele to replace Neymar. Neymar wanted to leave. Where if Neymar didn't leave, then we could have still been dominant in Europe, all right? So Neymar, he didn't expect Neymar to leave. And he's saying, all right, I went and got Dembele and Coutinho for Neymar. I went and did this. I went and tried to get the players in the midfield. La Masia still tried to develop players. So I got Frankie de Jong last year. I got Longley. I got, made sure to get Ter Stegen, even though that was done earlier. I got these guys to succeed. Now, Bartholomew messed up where Bartholomew he should have kept Thiago. Thiago should have stayed. And he should have got Danny Ceballos when Danny Ceballos was at Real Betis, and another talented midfielder from Real Betis, Fabian Ruiz, who went to Napoli. Those would have been the new. It would have been the new, literally, let alone Gundogan, honestly. But then Gundogan had his injuries, because he could have been easily a mix of both Xavi and Iniesta. To me, he was a German Iniesta before he got hurt and everything. It still could be, but he just had his injuries. But he could have had Danny Ceballos, he could have had Thiago, and he could have kept Thiago and Fabian Ruiz. And instead, he didn't do that in his midfield because he thought that Messi and Suarez and at the time Neymar was going to solve it, and then have Coutinho come in. Oh, we'll be fine. And that did not happen at all. At all. So, your thoughts in terms of that? Because now Bartholomew, before you say that, James, now Bartholomew's still thinking that he did everything. So now he's saying literally, well, it's my way or the highway. And I couldn't believe that quote. He said straight up, it's either Messi goes or I go.
Oh, he said that? He said that out now?
He said that on Friday. He said either I go or Messi go, because he's fed up. Because he said himself, wait a minute, I've done everything. And then this is the thing that set him off. Eric Abidal, the great Eric Abidal, tremendous player. He said, okay. Yeah, because Eric Abidal was, a prominent member of the club in terms of being part of the board. And he was critical this season, and Messi didn't like the comments made about that from Eric Abidal. And Bartholomew was like, oh, after 8-2 happened, he's like, okay, let's try to keep him here. Let's try desperately to keep him here, honestly. It'd be bad for business if we don't keep him here, all right? He go ahead and be like, you know what? Let me do the first step and fire Eric Abidal, all right? Not have him around, okay? Even though what Abidal said was true, mainly in terms of stuff. Then he's saying to himself, all right, now that I got rid of Abidal, let me get a Barcelona guy in Koeman to replace Kike Setien. Because Koeman, no matter what happened and everything with him and stuff like that, never seen how he fell apart after a great start as a manager in the Premier League. He's perfect for the Barcelona system. And hey, if Hansi Flick can lead Bayern to a Champions League, well, they didn't dominate the final. PSG should have won. But it still leads them to the Champions League, their second treble ever in history. Then why can't Ronald Koeman's got the experience, who's had success at the highest level, and he knows our philosophy, obviously by playing here. So they had all those factors, and yet Messi was like, hell no, no more.
Well, he wasn't, from what I've been reading, it seems like none of those people were Messi's guys. Were Messi or the previous regime's guys. So apparently what I'm hearing is, what I was reading was those moves were done because they know Lionel was not going to be happy with those moves.
Well,
so it's not surprising to hear.
Mm-hmm.
It's surprising to hear that Bermatu came out in public and said it, but we knew.
As James gets up there, we read his comments, and before we close this out, but it's something to behold. Where I'll say my last words before James comes back in, is that I think he's gonna be so. It's amazing. I mean, they're lucky if they're able to not walk away on the free, because how arrogant they were to think that he was going to be there for a lifetime. And mind you, the same club that got rid of Iniesta, and and that is issues overall with Pep left for a reason. And I just think that they just didn't learn those lessons, and they thought that he was going to stay forever. He doesn't try to inflame situation. He's just that humble of a person.
I think he would try to stay forever. Would love him to stay forever, but I think they tied up so much. They have so much money tied up in him as well, from a financial standpoint. And I'm not saying that because he's the best player in the world. I'm also saying from a financial standpoint, when you read about the amount of money that they have tied up in Messi, it's absurd. It's like, that's why they want the 700 million euros, because Barcelona has a lot of money tied up in him. And to let him go for the free after, even though you're paying out like $1 billion, they've already paid out.
That person has to be the dumbest whether it was Barcelona, whoever wrote that down. Because now we know it's true. I couldn't believe that. I thought I was getting trolled on Twitter. And then I realized, wow, this source is legit.
Yeah, no, it's a legit amount of money they have invested in. I want to say, like, I was hearing that the payouts just from like his salary is gonna make him close to a billionaire. Something ridiculous like that. It's like $700 million that they're paying out to him.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
but you have to think about it. He is Barcelona. You know what I mean? People don't know. People, when you see a Barcelona shirt, you think Messi.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even, so it's like, yeah, he was their biggest spokesperson. I can tell you, think about it this way, Drew. How many times have you heard Messi speak? Like, actually heard or seen Messi speak?
Well, not in English, that's for sure.
Well, there's a reason I didn't say English. I just said speak. You really, like, even in his Pepsi commercial that he does with Salah, he doesn't even say anything. He says nothing. They don't even, like, in my mind, I was like, it's so hilarious because I'm like, this dude gets paid this much money, and I can count on my hands the amount of times I've heard his mouth open or seen his mouth open.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, and he's making this much money without selling himself, without being any type of performer, because they were able to put so much behind him in the branding.
It's amazing, man. It's amazing, man. So James saying there. The Zoom is trying to deny us the best opinion overall. But as you said, James, yeah, it's trying to get that cut in and cut out.
I was gonna say from a business view, they have to let him go. They have to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you'll negotiate is you don't want him to leave for free, but you don't want $700 million. So you're playing hardball, and then you play hardball. You say you want 700 mil, but realistically, they'll settle somewhere, whatever Manchester City can afford to pay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because this thing is bear with us, everyone that's watching the podcast and listen to it, whether live or in general. Zoom just goes out in and out like that. It just really does. But if you're able to finish it, James, what you were saying there?
Yeah, that's what. Did you hear anything I just said?
You said, like, from once it gets to the negotiations and stuff like that, I think.
Yeah, from the negotiation perspective, I'll say it again. From a negotiation perspective, I think he's not going to be playing. He can afford to sit out. We just were talking about how much money he made already. He can afford to sit out the season. So I think.
He wants to sit out the season, but then his legacy, and he doesn't know how many years he's got left at the elite level, at the level that he's at. But he's sitting out though. He is all about. I have been loyal to y'all since I was like 10 or 11.
I was about to say he's gonna sit out. So I think if you're Barcelona, you have LaLiga play hardball. You get LaLiga to get you a fee from City so that it could all work out.
Yep.
The issue I think is free. I think they don't want free. I think
we don't need free.
Manchester City doesn't want
no free 99.
Manchester City don't want 700 mil. So they'll figure out a number.
No
and
free.
La Liga will step in as the arbitrator to bridge the deal.
No free 99. No free 99.
No, not for a club that makes as much as what City does.
You know what? I want to see this right now. I want to see if Neymar's transfer is still. I have to see most expensive soccer player transfer. Let me put the camera back here, people, right now.
It might be. Andrew, let's step away for a second.
Yeah, before we close out, and we're gonna close this episode because we want to get this on to you all on YouTube quick. What's up, those who joined the live on Bigo? But I have to remind myself the most expensive soccer transfer of all time. I still think it's Neymar. Because of PSG with the release clause, or Pogba because they passed Gareth Bale. What's going on, Esmeralda Rivera C. Castillo? Yes, it's still Neymar. All right. So Neymar at 222 million the euros, past Kylian Mbappe. Because Mbappe was the next year at 180 million euros. Let's just say Gareth Bale. Poor Gareth Bale. I mean, who's still available himself, really.
He's still available. That's the crazy part.
Which is amazing. I mean, he's still on Real Madrid's books. Joao Felix, who's supposed to be the next Cristiano.
Oh, boy.
Now we got to give him time. It's 126 million. Antoine Griezmann, 120 million. Coutinho. Well, the fee overall for Coutinho was 105 million. And Pogba is at 97 million euro. So he just barely was under really the euro mark in terms of the minimum and everything. So and then oh my goodness, James Dembele went more for Pogba. I forgot. So you see that?
Yes.
All the Neymar money.
That's even more money.
Oh man, that is something to behold. Wow, Barcelona. That's why Bartolomew's pissed. He's like, I did do that. Don't start the panel. I'm boo-booing right now. There's no panel out TF. This is just the whole live and everything. Appreciate it all the way. Shout out to TM, girl. Appreciate you. You're the queen of the live. But James, all I can say is that it'll be surprising overall, people. I think that the deal's got to be funny. The deal's got to be overall, I think overall for me, where you're going to see Lionel Messi, I think they're going to pay 300 million euros. 300 million for me.
300 million?
I think that's what they're going to agree to. I think that's going to be the realistic price, I think.
Okay.
And maybe for City.
I think they get it for less than that.
So, okay, Neymar is 198. The overall fee was 222, but then I think the minimum fee was 198.
I think they get it for less than that.
Wow.
Because City stands to lose nothing.
True. They have the leverage. They do. They're doing them a favor. And he's 33. Yeah, I agree with you, James, because he's 33. People watching on the Bigo Live here. He's 33 is Lionel Messi right now. And you don't know how many years he has left. And, Barcelona, as James hears me, he's 33. All I can say, is that Barcelona would be lucky to get the Neymar price again. You know, they really would be
What was that, Andrew? Sorry.
Yeah, Barcelona would be lucky to get the Neymar price. They'll be lucky to get Neymar price.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
33.
That's my point. City's coming in like your league has to step in. All right, so we understand y'all don't want to do it for free.
Yeah.
We'll give you, right? We'll give you. Who's the highest paid? What did Pogba get?
Lord, Pogba only got for the FIA. What's his contract? But I'll tell James overall because Zoom trying to deny us our shine. What did Pogba get for his contract or the fee?
His fee, not his contract. Not worried about his contract.
Wow, his fee was only 89 million euros. Well, it bumped up to 105, but
right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who is one of the highest Premier League. So what we would do is say, okay, here's the highest Premier League contract. And you go maybe 5% above that. And you come back and you push back to Barcelona. You say, we'll give you 5% of the highest Premier League contract ever for Messi. And now Barcelona's like, no, we want 700 million. That's your behind.
Yeah. Wow. It really is, man.
You know what I'm saying? Because you need to get rid of the good that's not used for you. It's like an NBA trade. It's the key reason that people trade people in the NBA and Major League Baseball before they have to negotiate their contract, and they usually get little in return because it's not up to you. It's you have the good that I want, so I get to determine the price.
Yeah, I mean it's something, man. That whew, Lord, I mean and honestly, if I was City, I would think about with Messi. I'm taking this to the court of arbitration.
See, I'm not trying to get to the court of arbitration. I'm trying to get it for a discount, right?
But the reason why I say court arbitration because they could be like the contract says free. He's gonna go.
That's true too.
Exactly. So
that could make a bigger mess. I'm trying to get the good. I'm trying to get the good for on a discount, right? I'm trying to get Messi. I'm starting off at that price because I figured I'm calling Barcelona's bluff, right?
Yeah.
I'm starting off at that price because I'm calling
Liga's bluff too. Calling Liga's bluff as well.
Right. So I'm calling their bluff and I'm saying like, okay, I'm figuring y'all are gonna tell me no because y'all so pushing this 700 million. And now if y'all pushing this 700, okay, now we gonna get them for 150 mil. We ain't even gonna pay 100 mil, right? Because we would try to do you a favor. So acting good faith, showing good faith, this is just giving us more evidence for when we go to the court of arbitration.
Hell yeah. Woo, boy, all I can say, man, is that Barcelona, Joseph Bartholomew, whoever agreed to that contract and thinking that this man was gonna stay forever and ever, you wrote the worst contract in sports history.
So bad the league gotta get involved.
Exactly. Oh my, Lionel Messi, thank you for this concept, sir, because this is the best episode so far. This is the best episode because I don't think nobody else has said this. I don't even think Fabrizio Romano, the good sir Gabriel Mercati, the ridiculous Sid Lowe, honestly. Everybody in Spain covering both Barcelona, Real Madrid. I don't think they never. I really don't think they ever. I think they haven't talked about this in this detail. But you're getting the best right here.
This is foreign to European football. This is more, like I was saying before, this is an American sport. But you get a player who's adamant that they want, because normally they could keep it behind the scenes because of the transfer fees. You see what I'm saying? So because that team, the franchise owns that player, all they're there's no negotiation with the player, right? The negotiation is with the teams, and then after that, then you negotiate with the players. So it's a two-step process.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very American sports situation.
Yeah.
Where free agency, free market. So yeah, they're like, what the hell is going on? Whereas me, he was like, oh, okay. This is Giancarlo Stanton.
the Lionel Giancarlo Stanton Messi. Well, you know what, James? If you're able to say your last few words on this, because we got to make this available for those on YouTube quick before we even talk about the start of another sport interesting moment going on right now. And I think we got to bring a special person in because he's very lively in the text. I'll tell you that privately and all that. But yeah, James, you think so? Do you think when it's all settled and done, you think City shows mercy and pay and says Barcelona will give you this money here, or do you think they're gonna say we want to, you know what? They'll pay just to save time and get Messi implemented in the team, right? Or it's like court of arbitration right now. Let's get him on a free. Oh, come on, Zoom! Stop doing this, Zoom. People gonna listen to this amazing podcast and laugh. Yes, sir.
Much longer.
Can you reiterate that again?
I think what I'm going to say is because from a business deal, you can get it on the cheap, right? So my goal is getting a cheaper price. And because we can get it on a cheaper price, from a City perspective, we either get him for free or we're getting him at the number we want to pay. You see what I'm saying? We're not paying $700 million.
Nope.
So
not even paying
in their mind, everything is good. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way I look at it. In their mind, everything is going to be fine because they dictate the power of the situation. I don't think Barcelona and LaLiga know how much they've stepped in it, but everything is pretty good because they are going to be able to dictate.
James.
So it's either.
As James, the Zoom is so annoying cutting in and out. We'll close on James. You know what's so funny, man? If you can hear me.
Or we go to the court and we're playing and we're getting him for free.
Yeah.
And if we're getting him for free, that doesn't necessarily mean he's still probably not buying a cheap contract at that point because he's refusing to play, work out with whomever he wants to work out. So you know they're going to be able to scout, do all that stuff. And then the Court of Arbitration is going to make their ruling. I doubt they're going to have to pay $700 million. If they have to, if it's deemed that they have to, they can still walk away from the deal. Right? Yeah. So that's even on top of it. So in my mind, it's like, he's in full, complete control of this situation. And that's why, to me, it's either going to be the most ever in Premier League history, or it's going to be a number that you can't believe it's so low. It's going to be like 50.
All I can say, James, is that Lionel Messi may cost less than Harry Maguire, Nicolas Pepe, Kepa Arrizabalaga. He may cost less than them. And that will be fascinating to see. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an amazing special episode of Americans Didn't Create Soccer. Lionel Messi, he is basically trying to be held against his will by Barcelona. But at the end of the day, he holds all the cards to leave. And that's what's going to happen. So on that note, thank you all for watching. Ladies and gentlemen, with James Eddy, me and Jarrell Jones for this special episode of Americans Didn't Create Soccer, episode 11. Lionel Messi saga is just only heating up. We'll holler at you on the next one. Peace.